So we're recording this Volcano Bay view and thoughts a couple of days after we went, so that we've had time to think about everything and not just give an emotional review and an emotional response to it. I would say Volcano Bay is, there's two parts to this review. If you're an able-bodied person with very few issues, you don't need a wheelchair or anything like that, I think Volcano Bay will be fantastic for you. So for me, all the rides, I only did 2 this day, but I would do more. It was a very, very busy day, but I was quite happy just chilling. I'd say all the slides and rides were fantastic. The ones that we did were brilliant. They weigh you when you get on the group slides, but it's very discreet. Absolutely fine, nothing to worry about. All the slides are mainly at the back, and there's lots of little areas for you to sit, as well as the big main area. If you want to sit in front of the volcano, get there early, because you'll just not get a lounger in that area. You can use your refillable mug, you can get one from there, or you can use the one that you've got from the other Universal parks and do it for another day. I would say overall Volcano Bay is really, really well themed. The music is good, but a bit repetitive. They play the same songs on a loop every 45 minutes or something. They could change that up.
Hopefully like the Beach Boys and the Shadows.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
They just keep playing the same songs. Fearless River, that is fantastic. I could just stay in there all day. Really, really good fun, although you will get bumped, you will get scraped on. There's lots of people in there, because you stay away from the walls, because you'll scrape along them. It moves you that fast. And just watch out for other people, because you'll get bumped into, and you will bump into other people. Don't know why they put an island in the middle as well, which you have to suddenly move away from, but if you're not careful, you will hit it like I did.
These look like jam-packed sardines.
Yeah. But I would say Volcano Bay is a good, fun day out. A really, really good water park. It is an action-packed water park, more of a, I guess that's why Universal call it their third theme park rather. So yeah, go there if you're on that front. However, if you have mobility issues or you're disabled, it's going to be a little bit trickier for you. So you can get down onto most of the beaches, or next to the beaches rather. Some of them don't have paths down the middle, so it's hard to get, unless you've got a lounger next to a path, which tend to go very, very quickly, just by regular, people getting there. Unless you're next to a path, you cannot push your wheelchair on the sand. And it turns out they do have beach wheelchairs like they do at Discovery Cove, but nobody told us. When we checked in, they asked if Caroline needed help What did
it was just about the tapu tapu.
For the tapu tapu.
I had wanted help putting it on.
But at no point did any of those members of staff say, "Oh, you're in a wheelchair, you're going to struggle. Go over to guest relations. We've got special wheelchairs for the beach and so on." They never once offered. I only know about it because I saw one wheelchair being pushed, an empty wheelchair for that matter, being pushed out and about, and that's how I know about it. But nobody, even when I've complained on Twitter, spoke to the direct message. People, spoke to a manager, nobody has mentioned this wheelchair that is available, so go and ask for it. I don't know if you have to pay for it or anything. I would guess not. I would hope not. When we were trying to find a place to sit, and we did get there 10:30, so it was a little bit later, and we expected it to be busy because it's a bank holiday weekend. They told us, the accessible beach is right at the back, just over there. That's the easy one for people in wheelchairs to get onto. And it was small, nothing to see. It was very quiet, which was great, but it wasn't particularly accessible. There was a path going up the middle with some steps at one end and a ramp at the other end, which is where the slides exit, but you couldn't get onto the beach to get to the lounger, and there was nowhere to put the wheelchair, so you have to leave it in a narrow path that's so wide, leave the wheelchair there, nobody can get past it, or carry it and lift it onto the sand, where again you wouldn't be able to get past because the loungers are so jam-packed together. So I wouldn't say that it was an accessible beach at all, really.
We were only told about that beach when a guy saw Stu struggling to try and get me onto another beach with the wheelchair, and we couldn't push.
Yeah.
Well, obviously I couldn't push, but he couldn't push.
Lots and lots of staff around watching things going on, but nobody was proactive in offering any help or support, even when they talked to us right at the beginning. And when we checked in, they should have went, oh, here's a beach, this is where you can get a chair, this is the best place to go. No, none of that. They just said nothing and just watched us struggle, basically. Bathrooms, always a problem over here in America. No companion bathrooms that we could find in that park. There were bathrooms next to that accessible beach, but not a disabled bathroom, not a companion one. You know our issues with that one.
It's just a disabled toilet within a female toilet. Now, I don't have a family whereby I have a female with me all the time. I live with 2 males.
I mean, I may have breasts, but it doesn't mean I'm a female and I can't go in that toilet.
Yeah, I don't have a female with me at all times, and I can't always wheel myself into things because of pain in the shoulders. Now, if you've got a family whereby you have a female, but you're with all males, and say somebody can't do anything at all for themselves, how are they meant to take their child, their wife, their daughter, whoever they're with, into a female toilet cubicle to change? Not every disabled person can do things for themselves. Some can't do anything whatsoever, and not every family is 2.4 kids and
Yep.
female, whatever.
But we overlooked a lot of these issues. We overlooked a lot of these things to begin with, until we went for lunch later on. So there are several sit-down restaurant-y type areas that you can eat at in the park, and lots of kiosks. The kiosks do things like a hot dog, corn dog, or a pretzel, a beer or a water, and the restaurants all do different types of other food. It was we went about 1:30, I think it was. It was very, very busy in the restaurants. Not unexpected. It's lunchtime. It's bank holiday weekend. Absolutely fine. We have no problem in queuing and waiting for the food and all the rest of it. However, we went to 3 restaurants. The one next to us, another one, and then a one near the entrance. We couldn't get into the restaurant because the queues were that long. They were going down the steps. So every single restaurant has steps up to the queue line where you order your food. There is a ramp for wheelchairs in all of them, but the ramp is at the exit of the restaurant, not where those steps are. There's absolutely no need to have any steps getting into those restaurants. It should just be flat access to a ramp, because you were going down and then up some steps. Why couldn't it just be flat, or put a ramp there if you need to? There's no excuse for having steps into a restaurant these days.
And they blocked the access to the ramp off as well with rope.
Yeah, the ramps were all sealed off with rope. The first 2 restaurants, there was nobody there to let us in, so we gave up on them. The third one, somebody saw us trying to struggle to figure out to get the rope off ourselves, came over and took the rope off. Didn't offer any advice or support, just took the rope off so we could get through. We went to the top of the ramp, which is at the exit, where after everyone's got their food where they leave, and looked around, and I could not see a way to get to the back of the queue to order food, because it was going like that through the queue line, which was narrow, and roped off, and all the way down to the steps. So I went back to the person who opened the rope for the ramp and said, can you tell me where to go to order some food? How do I join that queue? How do I get to the back? And that person's immediate response was a shrug of the shoulders. I've no idea. I'll go and get a manager. We didn't ask for a manager. They just went, I'm going to get the manager. I don't know if they've had a few problems before where they just didn't want the confrontation because they knew it was going to come. The manager came out pretty quickly, and I asked the manager the same question. How do I join this queue? I can't get Caroline up there in the wheelchair. There's steps. The queue goes down the steps. What do I do? And their response was, this is what everyone has to do who's in a wheelchair or pushing a stroller, so with kids and babies as well. This is what she said. She said, you leave the wheelchair, the person in the wheelchair here, or you leave the stroller with the baby here at the top of that ramp, which is like a cramped little corner area behind the till, and you go and join the queue. And then when you get to the front of the queue, we'll get somebody to wheel the person or the child over. That queue was a good 30-minute long queue. If not longer.
Maybe up to an hour.
And I said to her, that's not acceptable. You know, we shouldn't be separated. Never mind, you know, Caroline's fine to be left on her own for time. A baby? a child? No, that's just bang out of order the way that they had that set up in her suggestion. And also, who would roll her over? There was no staff around. Nobody's just going to go, oh, yes, the person's at the front now, let's roll them over. That no one's going to stand there and watch for that. It's just ridiculous. And I told the manager that. So the manager's next suggestion was, well, you can go and get food from the kiosks. And yes, we can get a snack from a kiosk. We can't get the food that we wanted, and that's what we ended up doing anyway. We went to a kiosk. We found a kiosk that had something that we would eat, which was a pizza pretzel, and we wanted some water. So we would have got water and a drink from the restaurant, which is where you get your iced water, that's complimentary. You can't get that from a kiosk, you have to buy water from a kiosk. So we asked for some bottles of water to buy, and they had none. And there was no offer of, I'll go and get some water, I'll order some more in, or this is where you can go and get some water that's accessible for you. None of that. It was just, nope, here's your pretzel, no water. The guy behind the kiosk was more interested in his friend, who was behind us taking photos and things like that. He was just shouting over, saying, here, have a beer on me, he said to his friend where they're asking for water. And it's just, yeah, unacceptable.
And the food wasn't very good either,
and the
to be honest.
food wasn't very
burnt,
good, but
burnt and stale.
By the by on that. I tweeted out the problem, as you saw. I was a bit unhappy. Universal did direct message me, and we had a little chat. They said all of their staff are well trained. All the restaurants have access. Well, sorry, but you may consider that access, but it's not appropriate access. Just have ramps, or put the ramp next to the stairs. It's quite simple, really. Have a companion bathroom. These are all simple things. Have a wheelchair that's accessible. Have lots of paths that can get places. It's really, really easy to fix these problems.
Can I just make a point before?
Universals. So, yeah, go on.
Before I forget, in terms of Shaun saying that I can sit on my own for a little period of time, what Shaun doesn't say as well is that I get anxious when I'm on my own for a period of time, and when people are making noises around and it gets too much, especially with music. And that's just me. I don't have anything like autism. I don't have any, mine is because of my POTS and my autonomic nervous system, but there's going to be kids who have sensory issues, people who have severe anxiety, people who can't really be left on their own, and that people need, obviously Universal need to think about those kind of things as well. And you can't really leave kids on their own. They're young, anyone could come along and take them away. It's not acceptable. I'm lucky in that staying for a little bit on my own for a little period of time is fine, but there are others who can't do this, and that's what got to me. Leaving kids as well on their own, or babies, it's not right at all, especially if it's boiling hot as well.
Yeah, crazy temperatures. Universal did message me on Twitter, direct message. We had a conversation, and as I was saying, they said, oh, all of our staff are trained, etc, etc. They then offered us 2 free meals. They said, are you still in the park? Do you want 2 free meals? It's like, well, not really. I went, you can give me them and I'll use them next time we come. And they were like, okay, we'll give you 2 free quick service meals to use in any Universal park. Whatever. We weren't asking for anything. We didn't want anything. And two counter service, quick services, whatever you want to call it, whatever. Thank you, but that doesn't solve the problems. I asked them, I went, yeah, that's fine, we'll accept that, but I want you to tell me when you fix these problems. And their response was, if we change anything, we'll send out a newsletter to everyone.
They're simple little changes that can be easily made, and for us it's not about getting freebies. That's not what we want. We just want things made easier for people who have kids, disabilities, any form of accessibility issues or whatever. Even for elderly, it's not easy to get around, or I wouldn't say it's a comfortable park for me personally, as in how it makes you feel.
Yeah, it's quite busy and cramped and lots of things
and
going on.
I have heard obviously good things about it from different people, different vloggers, but that seems to be when they're in the park and it's quiet, or they're using cabanas, so they're getting personal service.
Yeah.
It's not that easy when you don't have the money to get a cabana, and you're not getting personal service.
Indeed. So I would say if you've got those kind of issues, it might not be the place for you, at least for now. We don't have those problems at Typhoon Lagoon. That's the other water park we've been to. We're also going to go to Aquatica, so we'll see what it's like there.
And we didn't have problems at Discovery Cove either.
Discovery
They were
Cove
absolutely
was
brilliant from
fantastic.
start to finish.
So, and Volcano Bay is the newest one, so it's easy to get right. They just haven't got it right.
And I do believe that customer service should be consistent throughout. It doesn't matter if the park's busy. It doesn't matter if they're having a bad day. When you're giving out customer service, it should be consistent, and everybody should be trained in the same things.
Yeah, we did have a problem in Universal Studios as well. So it's not just Volcano Bay that's got issues with people in wheelchairs and so on. I would say if you don't really have any issues, you don't get anxious, you're not in a wheelchair, you don't need any additional support, even if it's minor, you'll be fine. Go, as long as it's not a busy day. When it's a busy day, it seems like everything goes down the toilet. So if it's a quieter day, it's sunny, and you're fine in yourself and in your group, go. You'll have a fantastic time. The Fearless River is amazing. The rides are fantastic. It's beautifully themed. It looks pretty. Amazing. So go. But if you've got any of the issues that we've mentioned, go for yourself and judge it. But just bear in mind some of those things that we've said. We knew there were going to be problems at Volcano Bay going there, which is why when we upgraded our annual passes last year, upgraded 2 annual passes last year, we didn't want Volcano Bay added on. But as you saw in those logs, we had no choice. We went to 6 guest relations areas, and we were forced to have Volcano Bay. We were forced to pay the money for it.
They were quite rude and abrupt, actually.
They were rude and abrupt, and didn't. We knew quite a lot of these things, or predicted quite a lot of these things were going to happen, and they didn't care about that. They were not interested one little bit, which is why we didn't want Volcano Bay in the first place. But anyway, that's our Volcano Bay review. Have you got anything to add?
Yeah, I was just going to say, you shouldn't, if you've got disabilities and you don't need something, you shouldn't be forced into having to upgrade to include that. This is something Universal need to look at as well.
Yeah.
Overall, the customer service in Universal this year has been not very good.
No.
And they've made me feel quite small at times. As I said, Shaun,
the main Caroline said she felt like a burden. And
I did. I actually felt awful on Shaun because he couldn't get his food. He was feeling awful for me, and I felt like it was my fault. And that's not something that anybody should be made to feel. And why should somebody be made to be put in a corner, whether it's somebody with a disability or a child? It's not right, and it's unfair. As for the water situation, if it's a bank holiday and you know that it's going to be really busy, surely you should be replenishing and restocking at all times. But that's something that wasn't being done either, which I think are simple little things that can be easily rectified, in my opinion.
Would you go back?
No. Not unless they adapted it better, changed the layout, and instead of putting disabled people right at the back. Yes, they've got little ramps that say they can go down into places, but you go down those ramps and then getting onto the sand is hard. And if they do have these wheelchairs that you said you've seen one, which I never saw any, if they do have them, then when you go into the park, straight away you should be told and advised and helped out. We had no problems at Discovery Cove. As soon as we got in there, we were advised what to do. Somebody actually helped us and got the chair and changed it over, and was brilliant from start to finish. No issues whatsoever. And they did have companion rooms.
Yep.
If there is companion rooms in Volcano Bay, which we haven't seen, then it's something that they need to advertise as well, which is not advertised.
So that's Volcano Bay. I'd go back, but I don't have any of those issues.
And I will not be going back in October.
Thanks for watching.